I'd like to call this meeting to order. As a reminder, if anybody would like to speak before the commission, you need to fill out a blue card and hand it to the clerk. So this meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Laney,
Present.
Commissioner Hovey,
Here.
Commissioner Charleston,
Here.
Vice Chair Lee,
Here.
Chair Oblea.
Here. Thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Hovey, would you please lead us?
Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3, public comment. If anybody wishes to speak before the commission, you need to fill out a blue card. You can speak right now about something that is not on the agenda. If you want to speak about something on the agenda, you need to speak at the time it comes before the commission. So if you'd like to speak, fill out a blue card. Are there any blue cards?
We do have a speaker, Kathleen Voss.
All right, Kathleen, hi.
Hi. Let's see, there we go. My name is Kathleen Voss. I'm a resident of the city of Eastvale. I wanted to come before you today and let you know that I performed a survey on one of our Facebook groups for the city of Eastvale requesting whether people would be interested in having electric vehicle chargers in the city of Eastvale. The results were overwhelmingly positive. 62% of respondents would like to see EV chargers in our city. 25% of respondents had no opinion either way, and only 13% of respondents were opposed to the idea. I was hoping to address the Planning Commission and see if we could potentially make electric vehicle chargers a requirement for some of these large developments which are having unfavorable CEQA reports, especially those with significant environmental impacts on air quality. Because I think encouraging electric vehicle use within the city would be incredibly beneficial in those cases. Not to mention it would be serving our residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other?
No other comments, no other speakers.
Because your item's not on our agenda, we can't make any comments about it. All right. Thank you. But if you want to stick around to the end of the commission meeting, we might be able to comment on it as a commissioner.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, yeah, if I could really briefly, yeah, we're definitely on board with EV charging. We have made it a condition of approval on some of our development projects that they provide those. It's in the California Green Code to provide at least the conduits for them. When the Goodman Station retail project opens up here, out in front of those two buildings at the corner there, you'll see both regular and I believe they're putting in some Tesla charging stations. So yeah, we're definitely doing that, and we're making it a condition of approval for projects, and it does help offset greenhouse gas emissions and other impacts of the project. So
Awesome.
we're definitely doing that. But thank you for commenting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go on. Item 4, any additions or deletions to the agenda? Commissioners, none? Staff, none? Okay, then let's move on. Let me slide my thing up a little bit.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Working a little slow tonight. If I could make one brief addition to the agenda, I'd like to introduce to you Gina Gibson. Gina's our new Community Development Director. And Gina, do you want to say, she's been here for, you're counting the hours still, right?
Before you move on, do we need a motion to add this to the agenda? I'm just kidding. No.
Hello to all of you. You may have gotten a phone call from me this afternoon just to
Yes.
say, hi, did you have any questions about the agenda? Let's see, I've been a planner for about 27 years. We didn't have many resources in the city in which I worked for before, so I pretty much wore all of the hats. It was really tough, but I'm really happy to be here in the city of Eastvale and to serve each of you. So if there's any way that I can do that, then I'd be grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. Welcome.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, just few more words about Gina. I'm just going to go ahead and completely embarrass her here. Brian was going to read this, but since he's not here, I will do my best to fill in for him. Gina Gibson Williams is a transformational leader. She's a 27-year veteran in urban planning with a bachelor's in geography and a master's in public administration. Innovation is her trademark. Her goal is to solve problems for today and tomorrow. When she's not championing change, Gina is a volunteer for the California Department of Corrections. She enjoys sightseeing, theater, cooking, conversation, and cheering for the underdog. She is an author, mother, minister, and soulmate to her husband, Robert. No matter what hat she is wearing, her MO is always the same: service, solutions, success with style, a smile, and a sense of humor. So, welcome, Gina.
Welcome. Let's go on. Item 5, consent calendar. Any questions or anything? If not, do we have a motion to accept the consent calendar as submitted?
I make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Charleston,
Abstain, I was not present.
Commissioner Hovey,
Accept. Aye.
Commissioner Laney,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lee,
Aye.
Chair Oblea.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 with that one abstention.
Thank you. Item 6, presentations, none?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move on then. Public hearing. Okay, at this time, we will conduct one public hearing item. If you would like to speak, you need to fill out a blue card, and we will call you up when it's time for you to speak. With that said, let's move on. Item 7.1, project number PLN 18-20020. Conditional use permit for the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits at the Mies Nail and Beauty Lounge. Do we have a presentation?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Myra Salas is the planner on the project. Emily Elliott is here tonight to give the presentation. She also worked on this application, so I'll turn it over to Emily for that presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Norris, and thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Is my microphone working? No, it's not working. It's on.
There you go now, with the red
Oh.
light. There you go.
So red means on. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little counterintuitive. Okay. Let's get this going. Seems like our clicker is not working. Or do I need to point it a different way?
No, it's going to show up on the computer. She's getting it up on the computer.
Oh, I see, Okay. There we go. Great. Okay. All right, so before the commissioners tonight is a conditional use permit to allow the sale of beer, wine, and distilled spirits for on-site consumption at the Mies Nail and Beauty Lounge. This would be a Type 48 ABC license. In our discussions with the applicant, the staff has recommended allowing the sale of beer and wine only. This would be identical to the operation of the applicant's other nail salon in the city of Eastville, where she currently does serve beer and wine under a Type 42 ABC license. Applicant has indicated to the staff that she would be in support of a beer and wine license or beer, wine, and distilled spirits. The commission will notice that in the resolution attached to their staff report, the license type has been left blank in order to accommodate the license type of the commission's choosing. The nail salon is located within the Eastville Marketplace, which is on the northeast corner of Sumner and Limonite. It's within the CPS Scenic Highway and Commercial District. Within this district, any alcohol sales do require a conditional use permit. The nail salon would be occupying one of the inline tenant stores as shown on the screen next to the Smart & Final, which is anchoring the shopping center. This is a site plan of the Eastville Marketplace. This exhibit is showing the commission the current alcohol uses and then the proposed Mies alcohol use. The Burgerim and Pieology both have on-site consumption, beer and wine only. The Smart & Final is off-sale alcohol for beer, wine, and distilled spirits. Jumping back. On the screen before you is the applicant's floor plan. One thing that we'd like to point out is that her current operation in the Enclave Shopping Center is 21 and up, so no minors are allowed within that nail salon. However, in this salon, she is proposing to have an area at the front of the store and where minors could be allowed so long as they are attended to by a guardian So no unattended minors would be permitted. And then the blue area to the rear of the store is where is 21 and above, where alcohol would be served and consumed. So some of the issues that were identified by staff in processing of the application was to allow the sale of mixed drinks without any food service. Staff had some concerns on how many mixed drinks someone might consume while getting their nails done or their hair done, and what impact that might have on them without any food consumption. The other was the presence of unattended minors, and the applicant did clarify for staff that minors would have to be attended to at all times within the salon. You couldn't drop off your daughter at the front of the store and then go to have your nail service in the back of the store with your glass of wine. So if you wanted to take a minor into the store with you, you would have to stay with them and not consume alcohol. Both of these concerns have been addressed in the conditions of approval, in that minors would have to be attended, and that staff is recommending the sale of just beer and wine and no distilled spirits. In getting to our conditions of approval, they also include to cease the sale of alcohol 1 hour prior to the close of business. There's also a condition in there that would require that the sale of alcohol is ancillary to salon services. We want to be careful in that we don't create a situation in where over time the use could morph into something else. So the nail salon would always be the primary use and alcohol sales would be secondary. DJ and karaoke and other entertainment is prohibited. The applicant would also be required to provide a surveillance monitoring system and employee training through ABC. The staff's recommendation is to approve the conditional use permit, however, to do so under the Type 42 ABC license, which is for beer and wine only. But the Planning Commission does have options, and that is to approve a Type 48 license, which would include distilled spirits, or accept the staff's recommendation. Or you could also continue the public hearing if there are revisions that you would like to see. And finally, the last option would be a denial of the CUP. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any of your questions, and the applicant is also in the audience. Thanks.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for our staff? Okay.
First question I have is, with the original location in the enclave, why did the applicant not pursue separate zones for over 21 and under 21?
I think we can let her respond to that question. Staff doesn't know.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
I have one.
Okay, go ahead. No, not yet, please, sir. We'll be called, you'll have your chance in a little bit. Go ahead.
So I guess I had a question when we talked about minors, or, and then so we said separate restrooms, and I saw that in the building design. And then I looked at another part where it said no live entertainment, no DJs, no karaoke. But it also said there was an exception for musicians. Minors are not allowed to enter and remain. See section 25-663 for exception for musicians. But then we say musicians are prohibited in the conditional use permit of page 3 of 5, section 8.
Yeah,
Kind of wonder why did it list it like that?
what you're looking at there are the requirements of the ABCs, the
So
stipulations
ABC
of the ABC licenses,
So
yes.
we took that out completely and said, no, it's not an option then.
Regardless of what ABC says, no one under 21 in the light blue
I'm
area.
sure why it would be listed like that. So ABC's rules were one thing, but we came back with something else.
We're a little bit more stringent about the under 21, yes, sir.
Let's see if this one was. No, I think that's it for me. Thanks.
Okay, with that said, I have no questions for staff at this time, but we will open the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Do we have any speakers? Do we have the applicant want to speak now at this time? Okay, you may come forward. Did they fill out a blue card? Do they need? It doesn't need to?
Not the
Okay.
applicant.
All right, you just give us your name and your business.
My name is Vin Vo, and the business is Messamine Nail Spa, and this is my wife, Van Nguyen.
I am the owner of the salon, and this is my husband, and I'm the applicant on the for the site.
And I'm sorry, as to answer your question, can you repeat the question, please?
With the original location at the Enclave, why was there no application to have these separate zones for minors and for adults, for over 21 and under 21?
The first one was our trial one where we don't have enough room to separate them out. There was not enough room for anything else. So therefore, we couldn't do it. But this one, we want to cover every basis for even minors. Then, parents want to bring their parents, spend family time in the salon where they don't have to get a drink back there. So that's why we created something like that so that, we can accommodate to family times, not just the adults by itself. But if they want to go just by adult by themselves, we do have a second location, like you said, as the first one on the Enclave. Parents, anybody that want to come by themselves, enjoy the time by themselves. And this one is where it is for family times.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to say to the planning commission right now and about your project?
The reason why we are trying to get a distill license, spirits license compared to beer and wine is that we want to provide a little more relaxing area, not for people to think it's a bar place that they can come and drinks and hang out and get drunk. It's mainly for clients to come and relax, and they can feel relaxed, feel over, make themselves feel special, that they get a little like margarita or pina colada, a little mixed drinks, mixed drinks, so they feel comfortable. That is the reason why we are trying to provide distilled spirit for customer, because they can get mixed drink a little bit and not just just a bottle of beer, Heineken or Corona. That's all.
I see. Do you have any questions for the applicant, commissioners? Any? I have a couple of questions. On the staff report, it says your hours of operation will be 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. But on your handwritten, no, not in the handwritten, but in the typed questionnaire, or the typed statement that you made, that you sent to staff, you had Monday through Friday, 9 to 8, Saturday, 9 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 6. Now, is it going to be broken up like that, or is it going to be just straight 9 to 10 as you just, I think you answered that in the written questionnaire.
Yes, our business hour is from 9 to 8. Our last customer would take is at 8 o'clock. But depend on the service, it can extend them out to 9 o'clock or like a little later, because our salon is a full service salon that we do hair, nails, facial, skincare. And sometimes if the customer come in, if they want to get a hair done, and the hair process is sometimes would take 2 or 3 hours long. That is the reason why I on the application I put like from 9 to 10, but 8 o'clock is our last customer. 8 o'clock, we don't take anyone else walk in after like 8 o'clock.
And on Saturdays, are you going to be open from 9 to 7 and Sundays 10 to 6?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's going to be your weekend hours?
Yes, sir.
You're not open 9 to 10, 7 days a week?
No, yes, sometimes it's extended out maybe an hour later because it depends on the service that the customer get. So, I'm sorry, Andre, you're female, so you might be familiar with you get your hair color done, your highlight done, and it doesn't take an hour to get your hair color to get processed. So it sometimes take you 2 or 3 hours to get your hair done. So that might be the reason why I tell the staff that it might the time wise might be open to that late because they concerning what is the latest time. So I just did the estimate time.
I see. So the hours that will be posted on the door will be 9 AM to 8 PM?
Yes.
And 9 to 7 on Saturdays and 10 AM to 6 PM
Yes.
on Sundays?
Yes,
That's the
sir.
posted time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Sarah?
Yes, I did visit both locations today, and I spoke with a couple of the people that were there. And one of my questions was, how many drinks do you allow people to have there? Because there is no food being served. They said that they would allow 3 drinks. And so then, my question would be then, in the new location with a full service, it does take a long time to get multiple things done. So then, is it still 3 drinks then that you would allow? And
The
3 would be sufficient enough for everybody just to come and enjoy, not to get drunk and go out and get, pull over for DUI. So yeah, I would prefer to stick with 3.
We also look at the customer, and if we feel that they are not comfortable, and we feel that they getting out of hand, we have the right to refuse service, refuse the drink to them. So but normally people will drink 1 drinks or 2 drinks. Not usually they don't drink a lot because sometimes if they there for multiple of service, then they might want a little bit more because the time that they're at the salon is longer. Like if they're getting their hair done, their feet done, their nail done, it's not just an hour. Sometimes they're there for 3 or 4 hours, but they usually don't drink that much at all. But we just want, the reason why we want to be different than any other salon is that we want to provide a little bit upscale for Eastvale residents, people, so they can come in, they feel relaxed and pampered, they feel enjoy themselves with a little spirit, and they can bring their friend, their family, the whole family come together.
Any other questions for? Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there any other blue cards to speak on this project?
We do have a request, Beverly King.
Chairman Hobley, other members of the Planning Commission. My name is Beverly King. I'm a resident of the Enclave, which is part of Eastvale. I also get both my hair and my nails done at Mes Amis. I'm here to support beer and wine use. One of the things about a nail salon, probably some of you have been in it, maybe some of you have not. But one of the things that I've noticed over the years of going there is that it's more than simply the services that you get. There are, I guess I call it entertainment. I've seen people there on dates. I've seen bridal showers. I've seen happy baby, congratulations. I've seen friends just getting together after a long time. And it's really more than the individual services. It's the entertainment value. Recently, I had an opportunity to participate in both the restaurant survey and in the homeowners survey, the survey of people that live in the enclave. And one of the things that is noted as an undermet area is entertainment. I personally added it. Apparently other people did as well. I think it's important that we provide opportunities for people to spend their money in Eastvale. And that is another reason that I think you should support it, because it is one of the goals of the survey, and I think it's an important one to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other speaker cards?
No other speaker requests.
Yes, you can.
Okay, even though I spoke earlier?
Go ahead, come up to the podium.
You can speak and fill out the form after.
Give us your name and address for the record, and then you can fill out the card.
Oh, do I have to give out my address? I don't want that to be discoverable later. So
You
my
have to
name
give
is.
it on the blue card anyways.
Okay.
For the record.
Okay, so my name is Kathleen Voss, as I mentioned earlier. I'm a resident of Eastvale. One thing which stuck out to me regarding the permit they request is, I'm not sure if most people realize this, but as someone who has counted calories in the past, mixed drinks like what they're requesting, so pina coladas and margaritas, they actually are higher calorie. So I would think they would be less likely to have issues if they're limiting people to where they're not at the point of intoxication than someone drinking wine. Because wine is 14% alcohol, it's very low calorie. A pina colada is going to be very high calorie. The alcohol percentage isn't going to be quite so high, so I actually think something like that, personally, I think is less of an issue. But that's just me. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, no other speakers?
No other speakers.
Okay, but that's it. I will close the public hearing. Do we have any comments or questions, commissioners?
No question. I noticed that there's 4 types of beverages listed in the application, right? I think it was Bloody Mary and Pina Colada and Margarita and such. Under the type 48, would it be limited to
No.
those 4, or
No,
it's
no,
really
no.
anything, right?
I'm glad you brought that up there. I'd like to make just a couple of clarifications here, and I think I appreciate the applicant to help clarify one issue. But as far as the types of drinks, if the applicant gets a type 48 liquor license, if you all decide that she can sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits, then she can go to ABC and get a type 48 license. That's the same license you would have at Gillies nightclub. That's a nightclub bar license. So she could sell any type of distilled spirits, straight shots of vodka, Mai Tais, pina coladas, whatever. And we can't limit that through this use permit. So we have been working with the applicant very closely, through this whole process. It's been our understanding up until tonight that she would accept beer and wine only. Now she's spoken at the podium about her desire to sell other drinks. I think we as staff would appreciate some clarity on that particular issue, because it has a impact on how you act on the application if you wanted to, for instance, approve only beer and wine. Couple other things, the number of drinks that she wishes to serve, we can't limit that. So she may, as a internal practice, limit it to 1 drink or 2 drinks or 3. We can't impose that limit ourselves. So we can't make that a condition of approval. And then finally, the last thing I'll note on here, in the conditions, on page 3 of the conditions, there's condition number 7. I think this maybe would help answer the question that was raised about the hours of operation. The only hours of operation that we're talking about here are the hours in which she could sell alcohol. The rest of her operation, if she wanted to open a 24-hour nail salon, she could certainly do that. And what I would do to make things maybe a little bit simpler, in condition number 7A, where we have a hard closing and opening time, what we've typically done was said that if you're serving on-site beverages like this, that you stop serving an hour before you close. Because then she can adjust her hours to whatever they are, whatever that turns out to be the best for her business. But we always want people who are serving drinks on-site to stop an hour before they close. That's been applied consistently on every other on-site sales CUP that we've granted, and it's intended to prevent the patrons from kind of, having that last drink and then leaving immediately. So I hope that answers your question, Commissioner Laney, and clarifies a few other issues.
Any other questions, commissioners? Commissioner Lee?
Not a question, just a comment. I agree with staff on this one. It's not necessarily the type of alcohol that you'll be serving at your location. I think it's more, it has to do with the license. And unfortunately, the Type 48 license will allow other distilled spirits to be served. And I'm fully, we're probably not intending to sell any of the other ones, that's fine, but I think if we do allow that, I think going forward, I think we set a very dangerous precedence for other locations to come in and ask for that permit as well. So I think for that reason, I think beer and wine is a good compromise. I think that'll be, I think I'll be supportive of that, but because in the absence of actual food service, I think it is it's setting a very dangerous precedence in terms of the type of alcohol license that they're asking for.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other comment or question? I have a couple of comments. Now, this CUP will carry with the property, right? So if they close, another property opens, or another business opens, they could also sell beer and wine or spirits?
Yes, sir. It runs with the land, subject to the same conditions. So another operator could operate under these conditions.
Now, we could limit the sale of alcohol or beer and wine like 1 hour before closing. Can we go a step further and make a cap at, if they say they're gonna close at, what was the hours that they said they were gonna close? Monday through Friday to 8. Then the last drink could be sold at 7 or 1 hour before closing, whichever is earliest.
We've typically just said 1 hour before closing.
Well, my reason for 8 or 7 is because if it does carry, they do close and a new business opens, then they'll have to come before us to get that extension to a later time. So we have a say over what business comes into and takes over on that property. You know what I'm saying? We have some control over the next business that comes in. So we don't have a nightclub opening up or a.
The next business would be subject to the same
Exactly.
conditions.
So if we close, if we say the last sale of alcohol will be at 7 at the latest, then the next business comes in, they gotta end it at 7, which will discourage some undesirable type of business to come in and try to open up.
No, not necessarily, because the hours of operation, I believe, are not within the conditions of approval. The condition will just say that they have to stop serving 1 hour before close, whatever that closing hour may be.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if we say 7 and or 1 hour before closing, whatever is earliest, can we do that?
I mean,
I believe it's already set up that way.
I mean, as written, that's not how it's written.
I know, we want to change how it's.
The planning commission in the city has had kind of a practice of setting a standard condition on these of 1 hour before closing.
Okay.
If they wanted to do something different in this situation, I think we would need to, the
But this
commission would need
isn't
to.
standard, this isn't a standard business where we're selling alcohol. This is not a restaurant and this is not, this is a beauty salon. So it's not standard, so we don't need to keep standard procedure here. What I'm saying is, and my concern is the next business that opens up in that spot. You know what I mean? Do we want to encourage some other type of business that we might not want to come here and say they could sell up to 1 hour before closing?
Well, an option that the planning commission would have is if, another business came in and they were operating differently than this business, the commission could always seek to amend, after a public hearing, amend the conditions of approval on this existing application or this
This is
existing.
true, but do we want to have to go through that, or do we want them to have to come to us to amend that CUP to increase their business, their length of sales hours?
Well, let me ask a question of our legal counsel here. So the conditional use permit says in the preface, it's a conditional use permit to sell beer and wine or beer, wine and distilled for on-site consumption as an ancillary use in a nail and beauty lounge. So if anybody else, and I'll just look to you, Chad, if anything else other than a nail and beauty lounge wanted to serve alcohol, they would need to amend this permit.
Absolutely.
So if a bar came in, so we're taking out all the nail salon stuff and turning it into a bar, they would need to amend this use permit, and you'd have the ability to amend, either approve or deny that amendment, and then apply conditions as appropriate.
I'm confused then, because I thought the ABC license goes with the owner. So if they leave, that person has to apply for a license,
The new person
and
would
then
have
would
to.
still have to come in front of us to open up, so.
No.
They
They would
would-
already have a use permit. They would
They
have to
have
go
the
to.
use.
Right, so operator B comes in now, so she leaves, another operator comes in with their own liquor license. That's really just between them and the state. They already have a conditional use permit, so if a second nail salon came in wanting to serve alcohol and they were able to obtain their own liquor license, they could do it. But if she sold it and someone wanted to open up a bar or a hardware store that sold beer and wine, they need to come back here and amend this because it only allows beer and wine or distilled spirits in a nail and beauty lounge
As an ancillary.
as an ancillary use. Yes, sir.
And ABC will look at the current CUP and look at that and approve the alcohol license probably.
Well, ABC contacts us when they get applications for liquor licenses. So if that beer, wine, and hardware store came in, we would say they don't have zoning for that. There's only a use permit for that
Okay.
alcohol in a
That's all I'm
nail
concerned
salon.
And we would have an enforcement action as well if somebody else came in there under a different type of business operation and tried to sell beer and wine
Okay.
in that location.
Okay, I'm satisfied with that 1 hour before closing.
Okay.
But in condition number 7, Eric, it does state the actual hours.
And that's why we would suggest, if it's the wish of the commission, to amend that to just say our typical language, which is, serving of alcoholic beverages shall, and must cease at least 1 hour before closing.
So we're replacing the 9 PM.
Replacing the 9 PM, and we can replace the commencing no earlier than 10 AM. Well, the commencing no earlier, I don't think that's really an issue, but the closing time, we would just recommend that you make that 1 hour before the location closes.
Any other discussions, commissioners? If we don't, do we have a motion?
But before a motion, we need to clarify whether the commission is looking to approve a type 42 or a type 48. Currently, the application is a type 48. If the commission is only comfortable with approving a type 42, we would like to get the applicant on record that they are comfortable with accepting just a type 42 license.
Okay, then you need a consensus from the commission before we get a
Well,
motion?
yeah, it would be helpful to get a consensus of where the commission is leaning, whether it's towards a type 42 or a type 48. And if it's towards just a type 42, then getting a confirmation from the applicant that they're comfortable with proceeding with a type 42.
Okay, do we have a consensus on the commissioners in favor of a type 48 license? Do we have an aye for? Do we have consensus on a type 42?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's the way we want to go with this commission.
Then I think I would suggest reopening the public hearing and asking the applicant if they are willing to agree to a type 42 license as opposed to a type 48.
Okay, with that, we will reopen public hearing. Do we have the applicants come forward, please? And would you be okay with a type 42 type
Yes.
license? So they will be okay with a type 42. Okay, I'll close public hearing. Do we have a motion for this project?
I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation with the changes in the language for the closing hours. Instead of 9 PM, changing it to 1 hour before closing.
Actually,
Yeah.
Commissioners, Gina made a observation. Do we want to include, and I can't recall in our previous conditions of approval, is it based on the closing 1 hour before? Is it based on the posted time of closing, or is it based on the actual time of closing?
We've never gotten into that level of detail.
Okay.
Well, the
So we
concern,
just say one hour
Yeah,
before closing.
that would be.
concern from the
I would say
commission
the
was,
posted.
yes, the concern from the commission was about possibly a service extending beyond the posted closing time due to the nature of the services, which is understandable. But if the concern is about the time, then we would want to specify that the sale would stop an hour before the posted closing and not the 10 or later that a service might extend to. So I believe that's understood, but
Y'all like
given
the
the
wording
discussion
in
that the commission brought up, it might be
We're all in agreement.
wise
I would like the
to.
wording in that. Posted time of closing. Are we okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead with your motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve staff recommendation with the changes in condition number 7 with the hour before the posted time. And then with the type 42 license. Was there anything else?
Well, before we finalize this, then I have one question for staff. So let's just say that they post the hours now, what they've come forward with us, and then they decide at some point to say, we're gonna be open longer than 8 o'clock, we wanna be open till 10 o'clock each day. That's their right,
Yeah.
and then they can still serve alcohol till 9 o'clock at night.
That's correct, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
We would just ask them to change that posted closing time.
but the posted on the door
On the door.
would be
Yes.
different then.
Yeah.
Right.
So that we still abide by what we're passing.
So technically, if they decided to stay open until 10, but their posted closing time was still at 8 o'clock, and they were serving alcohol after 8 o'clock, they would be in.
I understand, that's why I wanna make sure the applicant understands that if they wanna change what time they close in order to serve alcohol for an hour longer, that's their right,
Yeah.
But they need to post it.
But they need to post it.
but they need to post it.
Right.
Thank you.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. Sorry,
I think Daryl won that one.
that was fast.
We have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Charleston,
Aye.
Commissioner Hovey,
Aye.
Commissioner Laney,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lee,
Aye.
Chair Oblea.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Congratulations. Good luck. Item 8, Commissioner's Business. Commission business. Do we have any commission business? No?
No.
Okay. Staff report? Or our staff, city staff report?
No, I think we've already done that. Brian, I went ahead and gave your introduction. If there's anything else you'd like to say?
No, we're really excited to have Gina on board, and she will be assuming the seat right there and helping serve the planning commission. So she's available to all of you whenever you need anything, as am I and Eric and everybody else. So we're excited to be staffing up to best serve our businesses and growing communities. So we're looking forward to some pretty big initiatives in the next year or so that will be coming before you on some efforts. So, and we're excited to have her creative leadership talent here. So, thank you, Gina.
And Mr. Chair, couple other items. We're going to have a meeting in April, and you'll see another alcohol-related item on that agenda. So, and then currently, it looks like we're not having our regular meeting in May. May the 15th, I believe, would be the regular meeting. We don't have any items that we want to bring to you at that point. We may have a meeting on May the 29th. So the clerk's office will be contacting you to see if that would work with your schedules, so we can ensure we have a quorum there. We do have a time-sensitive item that may require a special meeting at the end of May.
Okay.
Like Memorial Day.
29? Did you say?
Yes.
May 29th. That's a Sunday. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
That
it's a Wednesday.
should be a Wednesday.
Okay, no other staff report, then we'll go on to item 10, Commissioners' Communications. Andrea, do you have anything you want to say?
Welcome, Gina. Welcome to the city.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have another lady.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner?
I just have one. I've kind of talked about this before in the past, but the Inland Empire section of the American Planning Association has a planning commission liaison type of thing. So we do events and so forth. So if you have any suggestions about future events that you would like to have as a planning commissioner with other city planning commissioners, let me know so that we can move forward with some organizing some events together. So we'll work on that. And then yeah, I think that was that's the event.
You might share about the event we hosted here for.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. So we also we used the council chamber for a APA event. We invited area young and emerging planners over a few weeks ago, and we had food here, and unfortunately no alcohol drinks. But we had a more of a planning career event here, and thanks to Todd for coming out and speaking to the emerging and young planners, and so and thanks to Brian for giving us the space to host the event. So that was fun.
Very good.
What? We had how many do we have?
I think there were 60 people or so here.
Wow.
It was great to host all the young and emerging planners from the region here and show off our council chambers here, and they all thought it was pretty cool that we were in the middle of a shopping center. So.
Anybody from SCAG show up?
Say that one. Yeah, I don't know if anybody from SCAG showed up.
No, not from SCAG.
To talk to planning staff.
And I have to come back and amend my CUP permit so I can serve alcohol. Just kidding.
Commissioner Lane, do you have anything? Any communication?
No. I just wanted to ask our venerated city manager what the outlook is on for city folks attending the SCAG Regional Conference and General Assembly.
We are looking forward to attending the SCAG Regional Conference and General Assembly. So if we haven't RSVP'd, I'll make sure we do tomorrow. But I think we already reserved our table or put in. But if we haven't, I will follow up on that.
Houston, are you willing to pay for the planning commissioners as well?
I don't have a budget set aside for that. I'll have to get a budget amendment of some sort.
Commissioner Charleston, you have anything?
No, I think I'm good. I talked to our city manager about some of the things that code enforcement's been doing. And they've been so overwhelmed that they were closing some items that weren't done. But I did get a call back from the code enforcement department and said they were really well aware of that because they'd gotten several calls and that they are reopening them to get them back to a current status so that we can keep track of what's been done and not been done.
Yeah. Our community enhancement and safety team is not overwhelmed. However, there was a little computer glitch and some things happened, and there were some cases that were closed out. But we are resolving that. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
They did call. They were very.
We have great
They were
customer
very polite
service.
and they were very responsive too. They called back right away.
Yes. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody for tonight. This was an interesting project that was before us, and you did a good job. All right, thank you. With that,
Before you close, I also wanted to just make you aware, we have a community meeting next Tuesday, March 26th at 6 p.m. here. We're going to be utilizing the Public Safety Commission to have a community meeting about a budget workshop item that council wanted a little bit more feedback from the community. So if any of you would like to participate in that meeting, it's going to be discussing law enforcement and how we provide that moving forward. And so you might have seen a lot of articles in the newspaper, and that's something that we're also exploring. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, FAQ fact sheet will be coming out here soon with some frequently asked questions. And then we will be meeting with the community on Tuesday about should we create our own Eastvale Police Department.
Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned.